straight striggy. You hear that?
We not deal with striggy. Striggy if you go away.
Remember me, this is what we experience all from when we're in here. This is what ready? Okay, we're live and ready, live and in living color, and the color of preference is red.
Dread.
Look here now. Before we start, I want to let our listeners know that you can catch us live on Facebook at IRIFMJA, on Twitter, IRI_FM, Instagram, IRIFM_JA. For those who want to text us, the text line is 390-9863. That's 390-9863. And you can watch the interview for free on irifm.net. Welcome, Oko.
Great pleasure to be here, my sister. Sister Elise. Trust me, it's a great pleasure and honor to be in your presence.
It is an honor to be in your presence.
Give thanks.
Absolutely. In fact, I said to my friends and colleagues that this is an interview that we're going to put up in our Black Revolutionary archives forever, that people can pull and see that this is the man. So we're going in detail. In detail,
hop detail, round detail.
Your overs?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So I grew up in Eastern Kingston, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a young teen, I remember hearing stories of a youth where them call Orlando Wang.
True.
And I remember the man them on the street usually say, not even man, because we never ever reach them the stage there. The little youth them on the street.
Yeah.
Did I say, you have a youth at East, Franklin Town, And here what them call him modern day Robin Hood.
Yes.
And me I say a lie, and where am I do so? And them I say, you're a revolutionary them the time there. I was a little youth, so you couldn't have been much older than that. So this is my recollection of Oko Onuora. And perhaps when I was in my early 20s, I met you.
Yes.
Because you were part of the whole drama school
movement.
Yes. Movement.
The whole, not just drama school movement, but a progressive movement.
That's right.
Because at that time, there's a progressive movement taking place here in Jamaica.
Absolutely.
So-called democratic socialism. We had people like WPG. So the atmosphere was charged with revolutionary energy and energy for changes.
WPJ, WLL, which one came first? It was Workers' Liberation League first?
Yeah, and then you have Workers' Party.
And then, okay. So that was the movement. A lot was happening in Cuba. People were identifying themselves with all different kinds of revolutionary movements. Anyway, I remember meeting you in my early 20s and going by the name Fire then.
Fire. Well, it's original Fire because even before I went to hell,
yes,
where them called prison, I was called Fire.
Okay.
So, and Charlie Fire or Fire.
Right.
Originally, long before me, them call man Fire.
Long time. You're the first man me know name Fire.
And fire also. So the flame's still burning.
It is still, look here now. I'm telling you, I'm going to find out from how long this flame has been burning. Because every time I behold you, whether it's on Facebook or in person like here now, it's just one and same. It's just Oko.
Yeah, man, we're not change.
You can't change.
Them
your spirit can't change. And you look same way too. And when the beard get little grayish.
Yes.
But you look same way, which is a blessing. All right. Take us now. We're going to explore Orlando Wang, and we're going to explore Oko Onuora. So let us start with Orlando Wang and take us to Franklin Town in the 1950s when you were a young boy growing up there. What was that experience as a youth growing up in Franklin Town like?
All right. I grew up in Franklin Town, Kingston 16, a place called Brownstown. And, I went to Rollington Town School. I spent like about 2 terms at Rollington Town School, and I went to Miss White. Okay, but then while I was growing, at the time, because I 60 odd, So I born in the 50s, early 50s and things. So in the early 60s, at that time there was a revolutionary movement was taking place globally. We had people in so-called Africa, I don't like the name Africa, because where it come from, check it. Symbol and names are important. But there was a movement in North America. We had the Black Panther Party. In Africa, we had the Pan-African movement. And I was influenced by that. My mother was a caring lady. So the love for people and the desire to help people, I got that from my mother. So from a very early age, I was very disturbed by what was taking place. Okay, the oppression that was taking place in Africa, in the Caribbean, in the US, in the United States of America, and in Jamaica. Now, I was way beyond my years as a youth, way beyond my years. So I just used to rest up monks. A big man I used to rest up monks. I was the youngest one, the youth monks them. And there was a brother by the name of Negos, Brother Negos, a Rasta man. And Negos championed the Pan-African movement. I can remember, the brethren them bringing in books, Pan-African books. And they had to ask the people Pan-Af, the people to actually disguise the books, put a Christian stamp on the envelope them and all them things, because at that time you could actually be arrested and sent to prison for the possession of certain books.
That was the time. I look here, subversive literature, you see?
Yes, them call it subversive literature.
we grew up here in subversive literature in our ears. Because all of us apparently were guilty of being subversive.
Most definitely.
So this was subversive literature.
So, and Negos now, the brethren them where I used to rest monks, them man, them go by Negos, and, Negos would constantly talk about the need for us to liberate ourselves, the need for Africa to be free, the need for us to actually dismantle oppression, colonialism, anti-colonialism, that we are dealing with. So I was really fired up by Negos, with the kind of irids that I had, being made sick when I see a man lie down on the street, when I see poverty. Because I was the only child until I was 16, 15, Then my sister came on the way. Okay. So I was well taken care of. So I was very, very fortunate. So when I looked around and I saw the less fortunate, it inflamed me. I was angry. I wanted to make changes.
How old were you about this time?
Them time me are 15. 14, 15, 16.
Impressionable age.
Yes. At age 16, I was 15, 16, I was distributing Abeng.
Wow.
Back in them time, the Abeng was the revolutionary paper. And I was distributing Abeng in the East.
Walter Rodney?
But I met Walter, Rodney. It was during that period,
right.
So I met Walter. I was influenced by people like Walter Rodney. But the man who actually influenced me was Brother Negos.
Okay.
Brother Negos influenced me.
Is he alive?
No, Brother Negos passed on.
Okay, all right.
But the great thing about what I found amazing, I did not realize that Brother Negos really couldn't read too tough. Yeah? But then Brother Negos would be quoting from, books. Verbatim. He would be quoting from books, word for word. What he do at certain times, when most of the man them gone, they have a bridging named Righteous Bobby, right? And Righteous Bobby was a uptown bridging. Him come from a uptown family. They, in fact, them have all gas station and all them kind of thing. You won't call him name. Righteous Bobby. All of the man them from East. You look the man them from Kirk, Bertie, the whole of the man them. You Jama up, we say. And Negos started a school. He was inspirational. Negos inspired I to start a school called Tafari. The school was called. And we'd substitute alphabet, A for Africa, B for Bongo, C for Congo, and all them kind of thing. And the school,
whose inspiration?
Yeah, and the school was kept after the regular school time because Negos didn't want people to believe that we were taking children, them, the youth them from out of the school. So it would be after the regular school. And we had people who would come to Kirk. We call it Kirk. We would have people come to Kirk and from the University of the West Indies, young doctors, and them would have dressed foot and them would have, give some medical assistance and them kind of way there. Negos provided 1 meal a day, whether it be cornmeal porridge, cornmeal pudding, could have bake, but he provided a meal for the youths them. And so Negos was really the one who really inspired I to steer the course and to be a fierce warrior, because Negos was a fierce warrior.
I'm happy that you're putting it this way, because I'm going to ask about this fierce warrior. In fact, Oko Onuora is a notorious radical. You became a notorious radical. And my question to you, you're telling me about Negos and his influence on you. But what made you rebel as a child? What was it about your situation, your environment that most disturbed you and made you become so radical?
What most disturbed me, what was most disturbing, where I was concerned, because I was Irie, as I said before, it wasn't until I was 15, going on to 16, that I had my sister came along. It was just me alone. Says my mother and my grandmother, two fierce women. Years after, I realized that my grandmother was, what them call them, Taino. Because when I look upon her woman, she never looked like Kool-Aid, she'd look different. And I found out years ago when I was in the US, and I went to a Sundance ceremony, and I saw, a whole Indian woman, and she looked like my grandmother, and I was like staring at this woman. And, she got afraid, called some young warriors, and I said, she reminded me of my grandmother. Anyhow, my grandmother was fierce. My mother was fierce, but she was more the loving kind of one. My mother I had a room for myself, like a single bed and all them things. And I'd come home and see my mother, have somebody in my room, a young lady, one instance with a young baby. And so I had to sleep with my grandmother. I'm dead vexed at that, But I got that from my mother. So what really infuriated me, because I was hiring, it wasn't desperation, I wanted to know that, I was spoiled. When I talk about spoiled, I'm spoiled to this very day, I'm spoiled. You
Thanks
understand?
for admitting that.
And, so it wasn't that I was in need and in wants. When I looked around and I saw, my peers wearing patch bottom pants, when I go downtown and I see people on sidewalk asleep and people are beg and all them things, because my mother was a factory worker. And at the time when I was growing up, she was on Princess Street, so I used to that downtown area. And, West. And when I saw the poverty, and when I read about, because I was an avid reader from young age, I joined library about a dozen times in a different name, because I had to go there and I had to find a book I want, and I just ease it up. And I had to go forward, serious thing, I'm not lie, and I had to go forward again. And that's how my early library, okay? And with Negos, and reading publications that came from North America, learning about Stoker Carmichael, Che, learning of what was taking place in Africa, the struggle, the liberation struggle. And I was all fired up, no, this is not right, it must be toppled. It must be toppled. So I was all fired up.
As you say, you were all fired up. I know that perhaps you were more fired up than a lot of us. But it was an era of youths that were fired up.
Most definitely. I mean, one must remember, what was taking place in North America, the Black Panther Party, the movement. What was taking place in Africa, in Angola, in Mozambique, in Tanzania. What was taking place, it was burning. It was the era of the anti-colonial movement.
And then, I remember distinctly as a child, there was also, as you mentioned before, here in Jamaica, a process of democratic socialism where uptown was coming together with downtown in a one love jam down. Mm-hmm. You remember the whole of them kind of something there?
Yes.
Let me ask you this though, Oko. We're talking about rebellion in terms of an intellectual process. Give me your earliest recollection of when you moved that rebellion from an intellectual process to a live example of Okono rebelling.
Well, first of all, it was participating in Tafarai, in the school, you know, helping to run the whole everyday movement of the school, helping to teach sometimes because, you know, the other brothers would do that, but I'd be there assisting. And at the time, I was going to Camperdown, you know, and I would assist. So I'd say that is the first real revolutionary move, realizing how important education was. So I wouldn't be taken away during the hours that, you know, Tafarai was running, where the school was running. I would be there. So that was my real revolutionary move, my first real revolutionary move, because I still believe, even after all that I've been through, that the real revolution is a mental and a spiritual revolution, because you can overthrow a government physically, but then if you don't change the people them mentally, if the people them mentality don't change and the spirit and the spirituality don't change, guess what? It's not. But then after a while, being young and, you know, all fired up and all them things, then me get fed up and me I say, yo, Babylon forget lick, Babylon forget clamp up, Babylon forget burn down, you know. And I call it a revolutionary adventurism stage. And I'm not encouraging anyone to go and deal with it. But then, you know,
this
as
is
Malcolm
your
said, yeah, you know, my journey, you know, but as Malcolm said, you know, by any means necessary. So at one stage, you know, I decided, say, well, yo, I'm going to just deal with this physical. So I pick up the gun. And we never rob poor people. We rob like post office and all them kind of thing there. We are talking about armed struggle. You know, we had brethren up in Warwick Hill who were literally training. You know, we had a brethren from who had fought in the Korean War, and he had come home and he was teaching us martial arts and all them things there, and he had the whole knowledge of them things there. You know what I mean?
You know, you're talking about a space that I'm very familiar with. It's although I was pretty young at the time, you're talking about, I'm a Harborview person. So you know, so it's East Kingston. Straight up.
East Kingston.
So I remember that East Kingston, particularly where you're from and where you're talking about Warwick Hills,
yes,
was a hotbed.
Yeah, man. McGregor Gully.
Oh, Lord,
yeah,
have
man.
mercy.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
was
man.
a hotbed of guerrilla warfare.
Most
In fact,
definitely.
perhaps it's the first space that experienced organized crime, because the East people at the time, and we're not promoting this, we're just talking about a journey, but the East people at the time, with people like, we don't even want to call no bag a name, but, you know, they were into organized crime.
Yeah, man, you had people like Ranimore dead and gone. Ranimore from McGregor Gully.
Yeah, man,
and Ranimore spoke, impeccably English, and like me, because I don't really speak English too tough. I speak Jamaican and a little English. You understand me? And no apologies. So the enunciation and pronunciation, I mean, like, yeah, you know.
Okay, fine. We're going to take a break. I can't see the clock. We're going to take a break, right? And you brought up the subject, right? Because there was a point where you were really into mass demonstrations. I remember that you would write
wall slogans,
slogans,
done with oppression and
all
done
over
with
the
capitalism.
place.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you, when we get forward now, it's 1 o'clock. When did it move from that to violence? We're going to take a break. It is now 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Miss Gwen, sell me a Oxymaster there. It make washing so much easier. It takes stain out of white and stain out of color. Oxymaster available in a shop.
Really rocking, you know. 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 FM. 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 Really rocking, you know. FM.
FM. Words express philosophy, explain geometry, expound the political ideology. Words are soft, petal soft, scented sweet. Words are hard, hard like diamond, iridescent, cold. Words are explosive, incendiary, bitter, drip, honey sweet. Words paint pictures, abstracts. Words are spoken, silent, empty.
Wow, the voice of Onuora. And we have live inside of Studio B, the godfather of dub poetry. So you're talking about a time now when you became so radical that you moved past writing revolutionary slogans on the wall, you moved past demonstration, and now you became physical, and that included violence. you were eventually charged and sentenced to 15 years in prison.
4 15 years to be exact. 4 15 years
was
and 12.
consecutive.
Yeah, 4 15 years and 12 lashes. And I appealed and them reduced it to 10 years and 2 lashes. So I actually
So
was
it was the
whipped.
days of lashes?
Yeah, man. Yo, Sister Elise, so when me hear man a talk about police brutality and slavery and whipping and all, me can't talk, you know. I've been whipped by the state sanctioned whipping. I've been shot. You understand me I deal with? See, because twice in my life me escape from custody, you know. Twice
But
in my life.
before we get
yes.
there though, it seems to me like with all of what you have been through, even prior to you going to prison and then in prison, it seems like there was very little remorse. What is it, you see, that goes through the mind of an individual like you that can be whipped, having been whipped, having been sentenced, and you still know in prison? Prison revolts, you try to escape one at a time. And you know, for those of us in my age group, this was common news. It was Orlando Wang name was always in the news. If it wasn't a prison riot, it was you trying to break out of
I
prison.
actually escaped twice. Twice I make front page star.
And was shot.
Yes.
I remember all of that.
After I escaped the second time, I was shot, you know, by the police.
So let me ask you this though.
What is there to be remorseful about? Let me tell you something.
Go
If
ahead.
fighting against oppression, right? If fighting against oppression, if burning out negativeness, right? And fighting against oppression is wrong, then I don't want to be right.
I hear you, Oko. But,
Straight.
but watch this now. Let us keep this very, very frank. Bank robbery, which you became known for, is not fighting against oppression. That is robbery. That is criminal behavior.
No, man, you have to liberate funds, man. And not poor people, you have to liberate funds. You liberate funds, sell poor people and all them kind of thing. You know, no. What is criminal about that? I never see myself as a criminal. Man. I've always saw myself as a political prisoner. So that's what kept me going. You understand? I don't remember no number, you know. You see man all quote him number when him have a prison. When a man asks me my name, I tell a man say my name Orlando Wang. Me no number business. And so we were rebelling constantly we were rebelling. I never see myself as a criminal.
All right, fine. My question to you, because I want to overstand the thinking of a revolutionary like you. Is there no fear? And when it crops up, what you do with it?
Well, there's fear, you know. There's fear. You know, because we are one. Them say man, come and deal with man. Man, you know, I mean, yeah. But, you know, yes, there's fear. But then when there is a conviction, when you have a conviction, right? When you are willing to put down your life for something that you believe in, that's the highest calling. Why? So you don't really fear death. You don't really fear. No, you can dead, you know, but I mean, like, really, that will really stop you, that will, you know, cloud your vision when you should be focused. Because even now, I mean, I'm passionate about the dismantling of oppression. I am passionate about ending starvation. I am passionate about rescuing the youths them from, you know, some fate at times worse than death. Because when you're dead, everything done and, you know, I mean,
We have heard.
yeah, you know, you're gone from a different level or coming a different thing. You understand me I deal with?
I get you now. So what it is that your revolutionary mind would just not accommodate fear because it would get in the way.
Yeah, man. It now go retard you, man. It go retard you, you know.
Okay.
One of the biggest shock, you know, where you can think about, you know. Not even as a revolutionary, you know, but as a person out there that moving through, you know, is fear, you know. I can't do this. For me think about it, it can be done. It's doable. Once you think about it, it's doable.
Another thing that is crippling is what people think about you. If you think about that too
You
hard.
know, we didn't bother watch that. We didn't bother watch
Remember
that.
that. All right. So you're incarcerated. Your prison revolts was the order of the day for you. You escaped 2 times, them shot you up. Everybody remember the headline news. Orlando Wang shot up because him try to escape. And it wasn't you alone.
No, twice. The first time I escaped was just me alone.
Okay.
Front page star, daring escape a prisoner. The second time I escape, me and my brethren, mysterious escape a prisoner. Come on, no bungle thing, you know. I'm not a priest. Let me tell you from now, you know it is. I'm not a priest. I'm not priestly. I am not scholarly. I am a soldier, foot soldier.
I got you.
A sniper. So most of the time is one away, a straight head shot to attack, to art and thought.
Okay.
Lick out some unconsciousness and put in some consciousness.
And this is how we remember you. This is not an interview of hype, you know, because this is why I invited Onuora to do Heart, Mind, and Soul to Soul with me. It's because everything he's talking about so passionately is recorded.
Yes.
It is all recorded. So we can just check the files for those who want to start to investigate Onuora.
Yeah,
but you have to look for Orlando Wang.
Orlando Wang, and then, you know, yes. You know, and then some of the things they may see it underneath, you know, Onuora, and them just refer to Orlando Wang.
All right.
Yeah, man, all kind of file, all CIA file.
No, but that's not a joke. It's true.
No, then the reality.
It's reality.
No, my daughter, I mean, go on talk.
You began writing poetry now in prison.
Yes, seriously, because prior to that, I wasn't really a writer. I believe I had written one poem inspired by a bridging named Jerry Small, Bongo Jerry. A poem called
Bless
Mabrak.
up. Yes.
Bless, a poem called Mabrak. And but then I really started writing seriously when I was in prison.
Your poetry, as is not surprising, was also labeled as subversive.
Most definitely.
And was confiscated while you're in prison.
A whole collection of poems was confiscated, taken away, was never ever returned. In fact, all right, my first collection of poems, Echo, when one, you know, check Echo, there's really no poem in it talking about prison life and all them things. They talk about conditions outside that led the youths them into prison. I make some referral, you know, about prison, being imprisoned, like a poem called Last Night. Got a peek at the moon last night, but didn't think of lovers. Got a peek at the moon last night and saw a man with a load on his back. Got a peek at the moon last night and cried. This was after not seeing the moon for about 3-4 years. I'm in that talk and a man, them move me from one location and a man show up one at a time and say, yo, long time you say you no see the moon. See a moon, them jump up, it was a full moon. And then when my poems were confiscated and I was taken before the warden, the superintendent of the prison, and he was asking me, you know, I mean, like, why do I have to write so much about blood, sweat, and tears and sufferation and thing? I look and me see the wall, the barbed wire and the junk up on the wall and thing, you know. I wrote a poem called I Write About.
The poem, I'm going to ask you to give us an excerpt from that poem. And is this poem one of the ones that was called subversive then?
Yeah, man.
All of them?
All of my works.
Give us a piece of it.
I mean, like, you ask, why do you write so much about blood, sweat, and tears? Don't you write about flowers, birds, trees, love? Yes. I write about flowers and graves. I write about trees with withered branches and severed roots. I write about birds, caged birds, struggling. I write about love for the destruction of oppression.
Wow. Can I just say, though, that somebody with the background that you have, writing the way you write, you do realize that the average society would consider you an enemy of the state.
Most. I am an enemy of the state. I don't want nobody come. I don't want nobody come hug me up on them. I am an enemy of the state. Until the state changes the state of the people, then I will always be an enemy of the state.
You're still an enemy of the state?
Me say,
talk it again.
You know, you hear me say, I am an enemy of the state until the state change the state of the people, of poverty, of oppression, of brutality, you know, of homelessness. Until that change, I am an enemy of the state.
I got you loud
without
and clear.
any apology.
Got you. All right. In spite of your rocky relationship between yourself and the state, you became the first inmate to be allowed to perform reggae in the prison. And this is just history here now. This is a fact.
Yes.
You're the first inmate who actually got a band to come in and play reggae in the prison. Your poetry also found an audience outside while you were in the prison.
Yes.
Tell us about that. Tell us about the band. Tell us how it found the
Right.
audience.
I didn't actually invite a band. Lighter Saba came into prison to play one holiday period, Christmas period. And two the man them know me write the poem, the man thing. The man them say, yo, Oko, I'm going to go up there and chant some poem. I would smuggle out my poems, especially after my collection of poems. Years of work, years of work was confiscated. I started to smuggle out my poems. And a sister-in, Barbara Gludan, Sister B, big up yourself, you know what I mean? Like, give thanks to Sister B. She had a column in the Star called Stella, and she was writing in the Jamaican language.
I remember.
You know, because I don't deal with patois, Jamaican language. She was writing in the Jamaican language.
Right.
And I would write, I wrote her once and, saying to her, I read your column, I look forward to reading your column, a weekend time. Sometimes it's Monday or Tuesday, because newspaper was illegal then. Radio avenue, because there was no parole, them time, Prison from not about is like punishment. Sentence, go to prison, get whipped, hard labor and all them kind of thing. So I would send out my poem to my mother. I communicated with Barbara Glood, and then she met a brethren, by the name of Alric Denham. And, she said to Alric, I received a letter from a brethren from Eleanor. Him name Erlander. And Alric said, I know him, mother. And Barbara send, Sister B send, me call her Sister B, send for my mother and link up. And one of my first poems was published in the Gleaner. The first time was published in the Gleaner. Sister B arranged that. Then she passed on my poem to Leonie Forbes, a beautiful sister, yell up Leonie. And then Leonie passed it on to Mervyn Morris. Mervyn Morris, bless up, the poet laureate,
But I didn't know about Leonie, and I didn't know about Barbara, Sister B. Mm-hmm. But I know that Mervyn Morris played a crucial role.
He did.
Tell us about that.
He did. The link up come from Barbara Gould and the woman, them are the connection, in my life. Them always connect the dot and make the connection. And one of them are the gateway for me come to this world. Anyhow, my poem was passed on to Mervyn Morris, and Mervyn visited me in prison one at a time, and we got to talk about the poetry and them kind of thing. Let me tell you something, me fire burn academia, I mean, like when I say I don't fight against it, but most of the people from academia, especially the people who are dabbling in reggae and reggae research and them sitting there, them are some little hustler and juggler and without any apology. Because I talk before them. But Mervyn, so to show that I don't really burn out academia, you can't, Mervyn didn't come with any ears. Mervyn was just natural and simple and truthful. That is Mervyn Morris, So he never come with no, professor English business. And so we talk about my works, and Mervyn really liked what I was doing. Mervyn thought what I was doing was great. And, he eventually took my work on to Ian Randall. And then Ian, got sanctions to publish a collection of my works called Echo while I was still in prison. No, we never have no parole or anything,
No, you said that before. We never have parole, but Oko, I distinctly remember, because I remember when I was in sixth form, we had access to the prisons because we were doing studies on the prisons. And I met quite a few revolutionaries like yourself. You never had parole, but you had rehabilitation.
No,
there was a rehabilitation program.
No, there was no rehabilitation program too tough, And we bring that about people like Evan Garden, big up yourself.
Eva.
Yes, people like Jacko,
Big up yourself, Jacko.
Yes, a whole heap of ones and one Samis, like Arville, Arville Silveria, whole heap of man, man them from East, and we thought about not being caught up in the whole system, and then some recycle, so you leave prison and you come back, it's a vicious cycle and them kind of thing there. In fact, there was a riot in prison one at a time, which led to the Barnett Commission of Inquiry. People can go look up them thing there, the Barnett Commission of Inquiry, because them try to kill some and I, because of the work we were doing there. When I went to prison in St. Catherine District Prison, there wasn't any library. And we worked on it, me and some other brethren, and, set up the prison.
Lighting on no cell, them thing they never did.
Are we change them thing there? We change them. In fact, when Carl Ratchie was tabling the bill in Parliament to bring about penal reform, seeing him call my name, him said there's a young man in prison by the name of so and so and so. My first reading was done at the Tom-Redcom Avenue Library. I mean, when I look on them things, I see them things they're significant and them things they're symbolic.
But Carl Ratchie, the name, was a poet. What, didn't he dabble in poetry too?
Yes, I found that out later on, Right. Yeah, man like Carl Copper, people hear about Copper and them just see them man as, I see them man as notorious gunman and all them things. But Copper was a great mathematician. He said Copper, 1,000 minus 20 plus 2,000 minus so undivided, and without paper or pen, the man come up with the right answer. We would be up on our cell top in the night, and spelling words. A man that shout out a word and a man spell it and all them kind of thing there. I was doing a correspondence course.
But isn't that a fact also that during that time, perhaps that's why I was thinking there was a rehabilitation program going on? Because a lot of the IDEM was involved in intellectual processes.
Yeah, but we got out Maria Hector, who wrote the book behind those Death Row, Maria Hector. I mean, of course, we were seen as subversive. That's why the people they don't want to try to kill you one at a time.
Let's move from there now and talk about the fact that although your sentence was reduced to 10 years, it was even further reduced and you got an early release. How that
it was really reduced and I was reprieved by the Governor General because people on the outside, people like Barbara Gludon, people like Leona Forbes, and ones and ones outside, the people in the PMPYO, and at the time there was democratic socialism. Michael Mando was in power and there was this atmosphere of, liberation and, people, talking about, freeing up, South Africa and all of them kind of thing. And, so on the outside, there was a movement to free Orlando Wang. And you had wall slogans written all over Kingston, free Orlando Wang and them kind of thing there.
Not like L.A. Lewis.
No. So there was a movement by the people.
Right.
So you see how Iman Elise, me no need nobody, me no need academia. Me no need the establishment to verify who I am and validate who I am. Because the people validate I.
Do that already. And I tell you the truth too. If the truth must be spoken, a lot of the academia wish they were validated by the people.
But yes, so we don't really need them. And I want to make it clear, and not say burnout education. No. I champion that because the whole of my pick them. Uncle son, Jama Onuora, blessed earth day, my son. Because one of my son earth day today. You understand?
And you encouraged education.
Of course. The whole of my pick them have degree.
Right.
I'm a growing child because I have a grown set and I have a growing set. I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. But what me I say? No, of course, we champion education because as I said before, Sister Elise, mental liberation and spiritual liberation is the ultimate liberation.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break. And when we come forward, we want the man to stand up and do a long poem. So we're going to take a break.
Okay. But we see, we find a piece of poem.
Really rocking, 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 FM. Really rocking, you know. 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 FM.
Found the political ideology. Words are soft, petals soft, scented sweet. Words are hard, hard like diamond, iridescent, cold. Words are explosive, incendiary, bitter, drip, honest, sweet. Words paint pictures, abstracts. Words are spoken, silent, empty. Words with works we are talk about. Words with meaning, not just run up mouth, not just bag a chat. Go with that, bunny up. Yell up the man them from Portsmouth, big up blood, yell up yourself, da. You know, yell up the man them, you know, the so-called ghetto or inner city. But I get to same speed. Yeah man, bless up, you know, bless up the true soldier them out of grass there.
We're live inside of Heart, Mind and Soul to Soul. This particular edition of Heart, Mind and Soul to Soul is not for the faint of heart. Believe you me, this is a revolutionary journey and we're just stating the facts as they unfolded and we're talking to Onuora. And from, you know, if you've been joining us from it started, he is and he still is a notorious radical. For those joining us, you can join us on Facebook, IRIFMJA, Twitter, IRI_FM, Instagram, IRIFM_JA. The line for the text, for those wanting to text, is 390-9863. And you can watch this interview free on IRIFM.net. I'm asking you to give us a poem, live in Studio B.
Yes, the piece of name No More. In the eye of the sun, through the concrete jungle, the people them a dub to a bitter beat. You know see it. And the trampling feet of the unemployed are multiply, and that no lie. For 400 years and more, some fight. 400 years and more, pure lie. 400 years and more, too long. And that long, them a play catch it should be with the people, them future. And that no right. 400 years and more, no more promises, because all the promises are just promises that will never be fulfilled. No more talk, because all the talk are just talk, had it up, are just not. No more protests and demonstration, because in the end, the pure frustration. No more talking for a right, because when we talk for a right, them come down with them might. 400 years and more. 400 years and more, no more. 400 years and more. Not carry this load no more. Soon explode.
Onuora. Yes, the revolutionary. The real one. Because, you know, they have all different kind. Well, this is a real one. You are hailed, and rightly so, as the original dub poet. The first person to use the phrase dub poetry
most
is
definitely
Orlando Wang. You are the godfather of dub
without
poetry.
any apology.
No apology.
Without any apology. You have a whole heap of them, you know, Elise Kelly. Them come and them, you know, before you, them go along and go on, you know, but a whole heap of fight we get, you know. Because let me tell you something, I personally never say I was start a movement about dub poetry. I use the phrase dub poetry, right? Me not kind nothing because dub, the word dub, overdub, dub over, dub tonight, yeah? Reggae give them dub. Reggae give them dub. So to describe what I was doing, because I wasn't doing like what Shakespeare radical name way and thing, you know. But why I said dub poetry, because I am using my poetry to dub out some unconsciousness and to dub in some consciousness. I'm using that poem with rhythms dubbed into that. I'm taking that poem and dubbing it in some rhythm, so it's all a process of dubbing.
That's how the whole thing.
Yeah, man, that's how the whole thing
came about. I'm going to do a quotation. There's a quotation, and I would like you to explain to us in detail exactly what this means. It says, if reggae is a rhythm set to a poor man's cry, then its most esoteric form, dub poetry, is that pain made lyrical. Dub poetry is more than just words and music. The meddling together of the oral tradition of the African griot with the British love for dramatic recitation. In simple words, tell us what that means and what dub poetry actually is.
All right. I am no poet, I'm just a voice. I echo the people's laughter, cry, sigh. I am no poet, I am just a voice. Literally that. I echo the people's laughter, cry, sigh. Them thought. I echo that. I don't write, I am not a current writer, so I don't say something out there and write about it because it's current and it's popular. I have to be moved by a particular experience, whether directly or indirectly. I have to be moved. And it's echoing my sentiments. It's talking about what I feel, how I feel. Okay? So it's transmitting I'm on feelings. It's transmitting what I am thinking about. It's transmitting who I am. So it's living.
I got you. You're talking about transmitting how you feel. And one may think that most of your poetry is either subversive or revolutionary in some way. But then I remember the poem Thinking.
Yes, of course. I mean, like, I am affected, by things that takes place around me, will take place around me, by love, by hardship. I write about love because I'm capable of loving. The love for oppression, love for the destruction of oppression is a love too. It's love.
Thinking is not about the love for the...
No. Thinking,
it's about missing your empress.
I was in hell and there was a sister that I was communicating with one at a time, and I had written her a letter. And, we be corresponding. And she, one at a time after I wrote her a letter, I couldn't hear from her. And I was like wondering what was happening. Because I was there thinking about the sistering. So I wrote this poem, And, with all that was taking place around me, I've been thinking, how come I've been thinking about you? When the blood-curdling sounds of captive souls harshly echo from wall to wall, ringing in my ears. When the stench of unwashed bodies, cesspools, and festered souls hang even the air, suffocating me. When I should be thinking and looking where to step in this treacherous pit, I've been thinking, how come I've been thinking about you? When probably you're wrapped in self, thinking about yourself and no one else. I've been thinking how unfair I've been by thinking that you're thinking about yourself and no one else. I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking when probably you're thinking about yourself and no one else. I've been thinking, how come I've been thinking about you? Have you been thinking about me too?
Woo.
I wonder.
Onuora, we have, look here, I forget say, we have a time limit,
Yes.
So and then I'm going to ask you this question because we have to try and get an answer from you before we wind up. A radical revolutionary who is an enemy of the state, what is the difference between him or her and a common criminal?
A common criminal, thief, for personal gain. And you don't have to be robbing banks or post office or, using a gun to be a radical revolutionary, You understand? But the difference between a criminal out there, common criminal, is that this man don't have no loyalty. This man don't have no vision. This man is selfish. This man, is just personal gain. There's no principle. There's no scruple whatsoever. So him rob down all to all the baby, him rob all old man, him old woman, him kill all people. For achieve. If you're a revolutionary, you're not going to do that. If you are true radical, you're not going to do that. Mm-hmm. What you want to do is to help people. So if you go liberate some funds, you're going to use the funds to help people. Simple as that. Or to further what you're doing. Like go buy some computer and some laptop and all them kind of things. Because the internet, is one of our biggest weapon, Because remember, we are talking about what? Free yourself from what? Mental slavery.
That's right.
You understand? So any kind of thing for do that is a weapon, is a tool.
Reflections in Red. We're running out of time. You believe this? About 15 more questions. Me afraid I'm a virgin. Reflections in Red is a poem that spoke to the fact that you never really trust the peace treaty something there.
No, I didn't. In fact, I read that poem, I read that poem on the One Love concert. And I noticed, seriously, Sister Elise, I noticed that I don't see no record. Okay? I search the internet, I search all sort of thing, and them have all sort of people perform. But Reflection in Red, I wrote Reflection in Red. In fact, Reflection in Red was my first single. I could have actually released Dread Times, which was a known poem where everybody know. In fact, people were warning me again, saying, no man, release one of the poem where everybody know. But Reflection in Red, no, because how you going to have peace when there's no equal rights and justice? The man Peter Tosh said that. And when I read Reflection in Red on the One Love Peace concert, man vexed with me. Man, I said, oh, you come up here and I talk about bad man, Man vexed, but we don't care because then guess what?
We have 1 minute. Okay, what are you going to do with the 1 minute?
And the beat well red and the scene well dread and the man them loot and shoot, Lord. And the fire burn and the blood a run and some people just don't know where to turn. And the politicians are preach and the preachers are pray, but things are get worse day after day. And then from the east and the west and the north and the south a shout to peace. And the man them from Rima and jungle a bungle a dance and a prance to some the rhythm.
Onuora, the
and that's when we finish it because what?
Time.
We need to come, yes, But when I say, there can be no peace until there's equal rights and justice. And me say, if loving, if fighting against oppression, in all kind of shape and form, saying is wrong, I don't want to be right. Saying let your voices be heard, because you and me I say generation link, we not deal no gap, We I say generation link. One big up Jawawa. I have a new project out yesterday, today, tomorrow. Saying the poem because then at the same thing when I say yesterday,
Yes,
me I say today, and at the same thing I'm going to say tomorrow, but you have a whole heap of people. They must say a different thing yesterday. Today they must say a different thing. So it kind of make me wonder what they must say tomorrow. Because I not trust them. If you not say the same thing from yesterday and today, me not nothing with you.
The consummate revolutionary, Onuora. Him is a man where now, instead of taking up arms, him a fire word bullet.
Word bullet. Straight to heart and thought.
Thank you so very much for weathering the storm, brethren.
Give thanks. And Sister Elise, let me tell you, this interview, you're inviting me. I mean, I'm telling you, it's mystic, it's powerful. The struggle to get here. We say burn it up. We say burn out all negative sitting, burn it down,
flat.
Burn out oppression,
flat.
burn it down flat. We say up, positively we are talking about. Yeah, man.
Okay, over to you, Shane. Wow.
We're not change, you know.